age fraud is very common in India, and we all know that. Why is it a big concern to say that there is age fraud happening in Subroto Cup?
First of all, thank you for having me today, Sagil, for this discussion, and for my fellow panelists, Dr. Bharat from Bangalore. And to be on this show, it's especially talking about this is very pertinent because my fellow clubs and even supporting them, I think, was the Mizoram Football Association, had come out with this campaign fighting against age fraud. There was, I think, Tempo and Madras FC, and you had Reliance, and you had Bangalore FC. I'm missing one. So these guys came together, and the whole purpose was to talk about age fraud and how we need to do it. Their idea was, like you said, other sports. Their idea was to do the badminton thing, where for everyone to know, in badminton, what they did was they had an amnesty scheme where they gave all the age fraud people or cheats or whatever a certain amount of time where they can have amnesty, and then nothing will be done against them, and they will be allowed to play in the original category jahan pe tha, so they don't lose out on anything. And they also said, excuse me, that after this amnesty period is over, there will be very long bans, 10-year bans or anything about a 5-year ban in a sports person's life is end of the sports, because you cannot survive that. So that's what they had. And with that, they had a huge number, in fact, thousands of kids who were coming up and pulling up, because it was either giving up badminton or playing with your right age. So that was the thing our fellow clubs were suggesting, and that's one of the suggestions which are there. But another implemented thing, TW3, which is approved by the Sports Authority of India and everyone else, was being used by Subroto. So why is the Subroto Cup the most important? It's the most important because, number one, it's our India's largest school-based tournament. It's Asia's largest grassroots level tournament. It's one of the oldest in the world. It was started in 1960s. This is the 63rd edition, I think. And the greatest players, starting from even Chetri or Bhutia or anyone, has played in the Subroto Cup at some time. By the way, even I played, and that was one of my proudest moments, and I still have those memories. So when you are, so what is the Subroto Cup? How does it happen? Every state is first divided into districts. Every district first has a competition which is organized by the education department of the state. That means the government is involved in it. So the government actually does this, picks out a winner. That district winner goes and plays in a state championship where the state winner is this thing. And that guy, that school, goes and qualifies for the national round of Subroto. Now, imagine the number of schools in your district, and then to beat them and then come there as all the district champions are there, and then to win that and come there. It's a huge thing. And then why it is important is because the number of people who take part, kids who take part in Subroto, they are probably over 300 or 400,000 in boys and girls total, because you have every district and every state taking part. Then you have the boards, like what we represented, CISC, that means the ICSC board. First, the ICSC board has its regionals, and then it has its districts, and that's nationals the same way. In fact, it's more difficult to get through CISC because you fight with hundreds of schools from all over India. CBSC is one, then they do the same. NCC does it. Indian Air Force Schools does it. Kendriya Vidyalaya has their own. Other than, like in the Ranjit Trophy. So there's representation of school boards and of states as well. So state boards ka bhi. So it's actually a pan-India tournament which covers everybody. That is why the AIFF got into the picture and last year signed an MOU with the Subroto, because Subroto was very famous for age fraud. Unfortunately, it's my beloved tournament and I love it, and I have been, in fact, doing videos about it and promoting it. In fact, I am the one who requested Sunil Chetri this year to please make a video. I am the one who got Dhanraj to be doing that. I am the one who got Ranvijay to do a video and partner up with them. So I was a full supporter of Subroto, and I still am, because they are the only ones at one go can have the entire grassroots tested. Do they have the budget for it? Yes. With one go, they can kill age fraud. That's the power of Subroto Cup, because of the number of people who take part, kids who take part, and at boys and girls in both the categories. Under 15, under 14 and under 17. This year under 15 and under 17. Now, this year, when AFF partnered with them, they made it very clear that, and they sent a letter to all the winners and all the participants, that this year we are not going to be doing age tests or relying on that, because everybody knows that age certificates in India are the big problem, that anyone can get anything. So they started this TW3, which is approved by SAI, like I was saying, Sports Authority of India, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and the All India Football Federation. In fact, the AIFF, in one of the letters which was given by RTIs to somebody, wrote that we have done 20,000 TW3 tests in the last 3 years. This is a reply, which I will send you this, and you can put it up there when I'm talking about it. And this year, we are only going to go by this stringent test. So this time they did 14.8 for under 15 and 12.8 for under 13, which is huge, because last year it was 16.
What is that?
So the TW3 scores is known as the skeletal maturity scores, which is not, or a bone density test. It's not basically what your age is. They're making it very clear. It's not an age test. It's a skeletal maturity. So according to the test, they tell you an approximate age based on your skeletal maturity, that what the skeleton should look like for that age. It takes it, and because there were a lot of cases, by the way, so disclaimer here, TW3 is not foolproof at all. No one says it is. And why it is not foolproof? Especially because the standards we are using is for Caucasians. The Indians have never even made a standard for themselves. So Caucasians, मतलब गोरों का standard हम use कर रहे हैं, तो obviously differences होंगे. कैसे differences हुए? Because जब BCCI ने ये use किया, people went in cases and Supreme Court तक case गया, जब twin brothers के एक का age अलग है और एक का age अलग आया, और एक नहीं बहुत case ऐसे आए. So you knew that there was a problem in it. But overall, to make it equal, that yes, it may make a problem, but it's equal for everyone, that, there's some boys who will be affected by it the wrong way. But mostly it gives you an approximate figure, and which I have seen, honestly, which I have seen as a club owner. And that is what actually made me buy the TW3 software for Minerva. We have bought that software. And we keep on buying you have to keep buying the number of places you keep on putting it in. I mean, if they give you 100 for 2 lakhs or something like that, and then you put in the number of x-rays you have. And how that cannot be cheated is when you put the DICOM x-ray, which the thing is, DICOM x-ray means basically you have your name. So this will probably be, I'll leave this for the good doctor to explain the technical part. So this will go to him. So last year, when AIFF took up this initiative, that we are going to do an MOU and we are going to help Subroto clean up the system. And because Subroto is a tournament which has a great budget, they are sponsored by LIC. They're a Sports Service Control Board run tournament. That means the Indian Air Force is behind them. And the amount of money they have is in crores. It is probably bigger than any tournament in India. That's the kind of resources they have. So they made out a rule that everyone has to follow TW3. And they gave a limit last year. And because of that, and so what we did was, at that time, AIFF was asking and taking advice from everybody there. And the Subroto people contacted me and they said, what do we do? I said, okay, fine, I'll help you out. I'll find you someone who's really, really good, because they want to do it in Bangalore. We'll find you someone who's really great there. And they contacted Dr. Bharat and his clinic. And they made sure that they, as an independent agency, they went through the entire test for the entire Subroto test. They were their tests, which they did 126 of. Again, I will show you the email. Somebody did an RTI, but it's available on even a tweet which Subroto did, that we tested 126 and 92 failed. And because of that, 16 teams were disqualified. Now, the terms for disqualification were that even now it's very subjective. It's not the entire team is tested. So if there's one guy sitting there with his experience, he's saying, okay, I think you are overage, we'll test you. I think you are okay. But that is the worst way of testing actual TW3, because no one can look at you unless you're in X-ray vision, because X-ray se pata lagta hai, that there is skeletal maturity kitni hai. So you have to test everybody across the board. And it costs 2,000 rupees a test overall, approximate. So we actually were able to even get it down to 1500 or something like that. And that's what the great doctor did for us for Subroto. And when I say us, because it's our country and it's taxpayers' money, which is being used by Subroto, it's not a private company. Simple as that. Now, when they did this and they did this, so I thought, okay, oh my God, 16 teams, very good. And I went out to the social media and I was the first one saying, oh my God, you done great job. Well done, well done, well done. And this was much before the tournament had started, okay? So I had no clue that I was going to win the tournament last year. But because I tweeted this much before that. And we went on to win. We were very proud to say at least 5 of our boys were tested as well, 4 boys, and there was nobody there. And this time what I did was I made sure everyone is tested before we went there. So we had no chance of ever having even one boy being overage. What they did was they selected only 1 or 2 boys from every team. The rules were that only 4 of your boys, if they are overage, will be disqualified. But if you are only testing 1 or 2, even if they are positive, your team still goes through and the rest of them may be overage. So Dr. Bharat came up with a great thing that you have to test at least more than 4. So at least 6 or 7. तो उसमें से 4 आए तब जाके. But अगर तुम 2 टेस्ट करोगे तो टीम को डिस्क्वालीफाई कैसे करोगे? इस बारी 5
पूरी
टीमें
टीम की पूरी
नो
टीम
नो
की
नो
टेस्ट नहीं होती
नो
क्यों?
इस बारी 5 टीमें डिस्क्वालीफाई हुई है. 5. और कितनी
नहीं नहीं
टीमों
सर,
के
ये जो आपने
4.
मेंशन किया, ये जो
हाँ,
आपने मेंशन किया कि 4 3 4 बंदे की होती हैं, पूरी टीम की क्यों नहीं
तो
होती
मैं
हैं?
आपको ये लिस्ट दूंगा कि पिछली बार इन्होंने 126 टेस्ट किए. 126 टेस्ट meant an average of around 6 tests per team or 5 tests per team only because the budget was not there. Even then, when they had 5 tests per team, there were 16 people disqualified. That means 5 में से भी 4 overage आए. And this was because Dr. Bharat was told कि इतने से करना है हमने, कि we have budget of 125 tests, do 125 tests, that's it. Not because he wanted to do it. If he had the thing, he would have done all. So we would have had at least 600 of them overage. But 16 teams were disqualified. This time, because they were so many disqualified, there should have been more testing, not less testing. More testing, obviously, not less. So they made sure कि tournament खराब नहीं होना चाहिए. तो क्या किया इन्होंने? सिर्फ 1 या 0 या 2. So there were 8 teams, including our team, 9 teams, जिनके 0 बंदे select किए उन्होंने. No one was selected to get tested. There were 5 teams, 1. There were 6 teams, 2. There were 7 teams, 3. And out of the 6 teams, 6 teams, जिनके they selected 4 or 5 boys, 5 were disqualified. So it's an eyewash. Now you can talk to doctor. Now that's why I wanted to give the background.
So we have got the background of this, what's happening in Subroto Cup. So I want you to kind of explain this, what actually is TW3 test, but explain us in a way that even a commerce or arts students can understand what actually TW3 test is.
All right. So TW3 stands for Tanner Whitehouse staging. Okay. There is development of secondary sexual characters like mustache and then underarm hair, pubic hair, and size of the genitalia and all that. Okay. So based on that, there is something known as Tanner staging, which has 5 stages. That is development of secondary sexual characteristics. So the other part of it is development of the skeletal. Skeletal is bone. Now, bones, before they form, they are formed from the cartilages. Okay, so
What is that?
Cartilage is basically a tissue.
Okay.
Okay. So bones, before they form bones, they need cartilages. I mean, they have cartilages wherein the calcium goes and gets deposited there, and then they form the bone. Okay, so at the end of all the bone growth, there is something known as growth plates. Okay, तो जो cartilage होता है उसको बोलते हैं growth plates. ये TW3 staging is based on the presence or absence of those growth plates, what we call as ossification centers. Okay, so if there is presence of ossification centers, okay, so then we say the skeletal maturity is less. Matlab, the growth plates are still open and the bone can still grow. And based on population study, certain bones fuse at certain age. All right. So there is a range from फ्यूज
what
मतलब
is that fuse?
अभी देखो,
Yeah.
अभी मेरा अब अगर फीमर हड्डी का एक्सरे लोगे आप, ओके, तो पूरा का पूरा हड्डी दिखेगा आपको. Okay, so you will not see बीच में वो cartilage. If you take for example a 15-year-old boy the same X-ray, okay, you will see a lower portion of the bone. In between you will see an ossification center which is a cartilage. So this means that the bone has the capacity to grow, okay, and the ossification center, the cartilage part is still open. Okay, that means that that person is 16 to 17 years of age. Beyond 18 years or 19 years, so based on the hormonal changes, the cartilage disappears and then it becomes the full bone, right? So now, starting from 6 years to 18 years, okay, we have different bones, okay, they're fusing at different ages, all right? So somewhere between 10 to 14 years, okay, what we take is the X-ray of the left hand. We have small bones, which are 8 bones, and these bones also have the same ossification centers. So based on the presence or absence of the ossification center, we determine the age. So this is the basis of Tanner-Whitehouse staging, TW3. Okay, but TW3 has a wide range, like we can say 13 to 15 years. Okay, if the person is in 14, okay, we cannot say whether he's 13 or 15. But there is a foolproof method also. But the thing is, I mean, this was also mentioned in the National Sports Code, which was released in 2011, which makes it mandatory for age verification that you form a 3-member committee. So one person has to be a physician for the genital and the examination. The other person has to be a radiologist to do the Tanner-Whitehouse staging skeletal maturity. The other person has to be the dentist to see the dental age. Now, this dental age is much more accurate than skeletal age. So when you combine all
How is
three,
why is it so?
it is like that. See, now there are certain parts of the tooth that develop at certain ages, and then the ranges between them is like in months, not in years. Okay, so if the skeletal maturity TW3 staging that tells you 13 to 15 years, so this dental age estimation will tell you 13.6 years. So the range is somewhere between 4 to 6 months, so you can still narrow down. So these all the three will give you an very accurate age somewhere between 3 to 6 months. But unfortunately, so neither the Sports Authority of India nor the Sports Ministry nor the AIFF use these three combined together.
Okay. So, for
And
example, like,
in fact, Sagil, if you combine all these three together, it will still be cheaper than doing the TW3.
how, how much, like, if
And
I,
by the way, yeah, so I'll just tell you that. And by the way, TW3 is only available if you buy that software from the US company and have it, and then you put an X-ray in it. There's no other way.
so,
Whereas
so if
in
I
India,
start,
all over India, you have radiologists. All over India, you have these doctors, dentists, and all these people he just mentioned. So there's no problem. Whereas no one in India can go and actually get it done unless he goes and buys that software, which minimum is available for 2 lakhs, not less than that. You can't just go and buy one piece or second piece.
so if I'm starting a new club and I want to like do all this verification of ages and all these
There
things,
is no way.
what will be the
There is
easiest
no way.
method for me?
There is no
Why?
way. There is no way in India who's doing TWC. Because see, if they are, that is not going to be recognized by AIFF. So AIFF will only recognize it when they give it their own center, so that that guy can go and do it in front of them, so that you can't just put somebody else in front of him. You know,
So
someone
is
else
the
can
AIFF
go and-
having their own centers?
No, they don't. So they give that center 1 month before the tournament starts. That time everybody's team is made. So either you have to put out the worst team you ever have, or you have to change the entire team. I mean, there's no other way, or withdraw from it. And that is why people have been problems. So this time they promised us that before the season starts, this time, that's what, I mean, I've been saying from day one. But this time they said that we're going to do it before the season starts. They're going to have everyone go to a center, get their tested, and put it in the See, once your TW3 is up
Go
there,
to a center. Go to a center means AIFF
like
center or some other center.
no AIFF center. So basically, like last time Minerva, there was nobody here, so they gave us a center in Delhi. So from Chandigarh, we went all the way to Delhi, sent all my kids.
Entire
There were
team.
around 200 kids, bro, 200, because we have under 13 and 15, and then I have 4 teams because Delhi is there as well. So 200 kids were sent. Each test costs around 2,000. Now I don't want. So once your
Each
space is
players.
wasted- each player. So once your space is wasted, your space is wasted. So you won't be able to fill it. So I had to do my test first, and then I took them. So that why do I have to have them fail here? So the ones who had to fail, we failed and we sent home, and only the ones who were good were kept. So actually, I had to pay double. So that is why I'm having a very big problem in the Subroto, because I have tested them twice now, and the other teams have not even tested them once. And in fact, now what we've come to know, the team which we had protested against, Uttar Pradesh, they had 2 boys who played against us last year and who didn't play against us because they were taken out by TWC. They played in the state side. That means till the state level, they made them play in the final. And I sent you those photographs. They made them win also. And they knew that they might get tested here. Last time they were thrown out. So there were 3 tested out of Uttar Pradesh and 2 failed and they were sent. But last time if Uttar Pradesh tested 5, like 16 other teams, they would have also been sent out. This time 6 teams had selected. So I'll send you the list. 6 teams had selected, they had selected 5 boys or 4 boys. 5 boy only one team, 4 boys from all other 5 teams, and out of those 6, 5 were disqualified. So imagine the rampant age fraud happening right now. The whole point is, when I offered, or anyone is offering, their rule says you give 1,000 rupee protest, but you can only talk about age fraud in the protest if you have proof that he's overage. Proof means you have a false date of birth and all. And my submission was that you aren't using that. You are using the TW3 method. If you're using the TW3 method, there is no way I can give you proof unless you test the person of TW3. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That this person, all of them have not been tested ever in the history of this, because otherwise they would have been on AIFF portal. Like my entire team is on AIFF portal. Their entire team is missing. That means they have never played any AIFF league till now. Isn't that very strange? Till under 15, if they're coming and beating the last champions, they're not played a league. Okay, they are that good. I am willing to pay for them. So the quarterfinal is 6 days away. It doesn't matter. You can please test them right now. I will pay for everybody. That is my proof. So if I'm wrong, I have just wasted 1 lakh rupees. If I'm right, I get my boys to get a chance to go up because they deserve it. They are the ones who did deserve it because they were all the right age. And why wouldn't they do it? Because they don't want to open a Pandora's box. Actually, what happened last time, they didn't realize that this is going to happen. They didn't realize that there's going to be a doctor who's going to be so fair. There's going to be a clinic which is going to be so fair that doesn't matter what any state is coming and telling them. If you're overage, you're overage. And that is the why you should have independent doctors, not your own Air Force doctors who you can just give an order to and they will just say, okay, fine, pass. Why you don't want to spoil the tournament? That is why I'm so disappointed in this tournament, which I supported with all my heart.
So the tournament is already going on, and the next year again we'll have this. So what will be your recommendation to Subroto
Doctor,
for having? Okay, so doctor, what will be your recommendation to Subroto from next year to kind of minimize it to the maximum level, the age fraud thing which is happening at the moment?
See, there is no point talking about minimization when we can completely eliminate it. It is like a vaccination. Okay, so it's just that they need to have that open mind to form that committee. Okay, so I can form the committee in like 30 minutes from now. Okay, so I have all the resources. Okay, so I can get that done at the cost price, no profit, no loss, and it can be done across populations. Okay, the entire Subroto participants, and then we will do that. So that has to be done to be fair and free in the interest of young kids who really don't want to be pushed around and then injured and then ending their careers because of some people who have vested interests, right? I wouldn't want my son to be, wrestling with somebody who's 17 years old, right? Why would I want to wrestle? So obviously it works on the psyche of the parents, and then it decreases the pool of the athletes that's going to the top. So Subroto, you need to wake up and then you need to have an open mind. So age verification can be done.
Okay. Ranjit sir, any message from your end before we close this conversation?
See, Subroto is a tournament which is very close to my heart because Minerva Academy has been a very huge supporter and a part of the Indian Armed Forces. For people who don't know, before we have got anything to do with football, since 1955, we are an Armed Forces Preparatory Academy and Institute. So let me say that in front of everyone that there's only one PVC. PVC is the highest gallantry award you get in the Armed Forces. Indian Air Force has only one PVC, one Paramveer Chakra. His name is Flight Lieutenant Nirmaljit Singh Sekho. I'm so proud to say he's a Minervan. He took training here in the 1960s and from my grandfather, and we got the Veer Chakra, Paramveer Chakra for the 1971 Pakistan war when he took down 5 fighter jets from his NAT. So with this kind of a history and legacy which we have supporting the forces, then going to their best coaches from Darshan sir, who's an A license, who's been supported all his life from here, who's the head of the services and for the Indian Air Force, and hosting their Indian Air Force team here for a month, sometimes 2 months, without charging anything, and making them have matches and making them do that. Why? Because it's service to my country. And we do that not only for the force, army, we do it for army, we do it for navy, and it's not for telling everyone. It's something which I do because I love my country and I love the forces. Anything I can do for them. So it's not any malice. In fact, I am doing it out of the love of my heart for my country, because I trusted my forces and I still do. And I know they will come up with a great solution, because see, the only people in this whole country who had the guts to disqualify 16 teams because they were not following rules, where rules are rules, rules are rules, discipline, discipline, discipline. The bedrock of the armed forces. That is why I was so happy and so proud of them last year. And that is why I'm so disappointed in them this year, that they've just turned around and they've gone the opposite way.